Hello, welcome to the E09 show. I'm your host, John E09. In this episode, no regulars, because reasons, I guess. As for our guest, she's from Alberta, Canada, and she is a published author. What kind of published author? Well, we're about to find out. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you Jennifer Chu.
Hello. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. So, how's life?
It's pretty darn spiffy. I mean, I'm vertical and the sun is shining. I can't really complain.
Fair enough. Same. Is there anything you're currently working on or up to recently?
Yeah, I've published the first three books in my series. It's a magic fantasy. It's got lots of action, adventure, some supernatural, horror and suspense elements kind of sprinkled in just for good measure. And so I've published my first three, and I'm working on my fourth. It should be out early next year, and my fifth one is in the works.
Wow, impressive. And what genre is your books in that you're writing in?
It's a fantasy adventure genre.
Fabulous. What inspired you to become an author?
I started writing 32 years ago. I needed a little bit of a creative outlet. I couldn't find anything I was really interested in reading at the time. I'd read a few things, but nothing really, stood out or inspired me. So my mom had bought me a typewriter at the time, and I sat down and I started typing. I was, 32 years ago, and turned into a hobby. Then it became kind of like a passion and an obsession. Now it's just cheaper than therapy.
Okay. What was life for you growing up?
Liked my alone time and spent a lot of it just kind of pondering life and kind of thinking of what if scenarios. And the what if that started this whole series of mine was kind of what if fairy tales were more than stories and monsters were flesh and blood? We just didn't know it. And I kind of ran with that and published three books later. Got a few more on the go.
Fabulous. Are there any authors that you would like to collaborate with someday?
You know what? I grew up really enjoying the one series that I really enjoyed was the Odd Thomas series by Dean Koontz. But I also read a lot of Margaret Atwood and Stephen King, and I think they kind of struck a chord with me because they're also very what if out of the box thinkers. I would love to pick their brains.
Very good, very good. If your mind was an island, what would it look like?
Oh my goodness. Probably look like a spooky forest.
Alright then. Would you teleport yourself 500 years into the future or 500 years into the past?
Ooh, I'd probably go in the past. I love, a lot of my book has a lot of like nature and medieval type elements, and I've always been kind of partial to those kind of that kind of time period.
Fair enough, fair enough. If you were hosting a dinner party and you could invite five guests who are either dead or alive, who would you invite?
I'm very much a science geek, so I would definitely invite Stephen Hawking if he were still alive, and Neil deGrasse Tyson, obviously. I would love to be able to invite William Shakespeare. I think he had some really good ideas and such. He'd be an interesting fellow to talk to. On the science trend, I would probably go with Albert Einstein as well, and Stephen King for sure.
Fabulous, very good. Where do you see yourself 20 years from now?
I'm trying to make it to Friday, so 20 years from now, I don't know, hopefully still alive and writing. Yeah, it's just, I hadn't thought about 20 years. I would love to have people looking forward to my next book and enjoying the ones that I've written.
Nice, yes. What was the last book you've read?
I'm reading a series by a self-published author called Scott Barron, and it's a four-book series, The Book of Bob, and it starts with the assassin's apprentice, assassin's apprentice, and I'm reading the last book in his series.
Fabulous. If someone wrote a book about you, what do you think its title would be?
Probably Chronic Dreamer.
Alright then. If you could live anywhere in the world, where would it be?
My family history and family roots come from Scotland. I would love to go back there and check it out. I don't know about living there, but I would love to visit there.
Yeah, me too. Would you rather speak all languages or talk to animals?
Ooh, I think I'd like to talk to animals. I think animals are more interesting than people sometimes.
You know what? I agree. Where was the furthest you traveled to from where you're originally from?
Well, being in Western Canada, the farthest I traveled is to Ontario, which is the other side of our country. I'm not a big
Alright then.
traveler.
Yeah, fair enough. If the internet suddenly stopped existing, what would you do with the time that you used to spend on it?
Well, I'd probably grab a pencil and a paper and start writing, or read a book.
Alright then, yes. What is your favorite plant or flower?
Ooh, no, I think I'm partial to roses. They smell really good. They're a little bit dangerous, so I don't want to grab them too roughly, but they smell really nice.
Oh yeah, they sure do. If you were going on a road trip, what two items do you make sure to bring with you?
My cell phone and my laptop.
Yes, that's very true.
Yeah.
What is your favorite family tradition?
Oh, we always open one gift from under our tree on Christmas Eve, and it's always pajamas.
Yes, those were the days. What should they teach in high school, but they don't?
Money management. It's
Oh yeah,
very.
yes, I definitely agree with that. What fictional item do you wish you owned in real life?
Ooh. Harry Potter's Cloak of Invisibility would be really awesome.
You know what? I might consider that as well. Would you rather be able to breathe underwater or have the agility of a cat?
You know what? I think breathing underwater would be cool because there's a lot more to explore under the ocean than we've even touched on.
Yeah, true. What do you greatly enjoy doing but wish you could do more of?
Sleep.
Yeah, same. What do you like to collect?
Oh, you know what? I'm not sure. Maybe coffee mugs. I got quite a collection of those.
Nice, nice. What's the best way to start the morning?
With a cup of coffee. It's got to be strong, a little bit of almond milk, and I'm good to go.
Alright then. Surely heard that answer like 50, 100 times.
I know.
When things break, do you prefer to fix them or replace them?
Depends on what it is. If it's glass, I'm not trying to fix it. If it's a shirt, I might try to sew it.
Alright then. What's your favorite thing about the area you live in?
It's the sunniest place in our province.
Well, can't argue with that.
Yeah, can see the mountains from my window.
Oh, that's great. Who would you want to switch lives with?
Ooh, fictional or
Any?
non-fiction? Any?
Yeah,
Ooh, I don't know. I think Captain Catherine Janeway had a really interesting life. I wouldn't mind trying her life.
very well then. If you had a song for every time you entered the room, what song would that be?
Probably the Monster Mash song.
Ah, yes, brilliant. If you were chosen to be a colonist for a new habitable planet, would you take the offer?
I don't think so. I think it would be too stressful to set it up and try to micromanage everybody. Might drive me nuts.
That's a very good point. What flavor of ice cream do you wish existed?
Ooh. Well, I don't have to wish it existed. It does. Chocolate mint.
Mmm. Oh yeah. You know what? That's actually one of my favorite flavors. I would love
Hmm.
that.
I made the mistake of getting pistachio one time, thinking it was chocolate mint. It was not. It still tasted good, but it wasn't what I expected.
Yeah, it happens.
Hmm.
What's one thing that puzzles you every time you think about it?
So how did the economy work on Thomas the Tank Engine's island? And where is the boy from Paw Patrol? Where are his parents? Sorry, I'm a mom. I have kids. I pondered these things.
Fair enough, I don't blame you. What happens in real life but rarely gets portrayed in movies?
How you can never find a parking spot. They always seem to find a spot right at the front door.
Yeah, that'd be so convenient.
Yeah, that never happens. Or if it does, it means you've got a handicap sign and you need that spot.
Yeah, that's very, very true. Do you pour the milk in before the cereal or the cereal before the milk?
Well, I pour the milk in after I pour the cereal, but when I'm making my coffee, I pour the cream in first and then the coffee so I don't have to stir it.
You know what? That makes sense. What's something that was once important but is now becoming less and less relevant?
Well, probably how tidy my room is. Seemed really important before I had kids, and now there's a lot of other things that I have to worry about. So nobody's gonna die from a messy room.
You know, yeah, that's very true. If you were given 500 acres of land, what would you use that land for?
I would plant a lush forest with a little tiny garden right in the middle. It's kind of like a secret garden and a little path to get there.
That's pretty good.
Yeah. Make it a no-fly zone so you're not disturbed by airplanes.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. What caused you to feel nostalgic recently?
Gosh, social media has this habit of posting pictures from when your kids were teeny tiny babies, and now my kids are 8 and 10, and I miss them being little, and they didn't talk back to me.
Hmm, I see. Time flies by.
Oh, yes.
Do you like spicy food?
Yes, the spicier the better.
Yeah, I'd
Yeah,
say the
not sure
same.
why. Gives me heartburn, but I still love it.
Yeah, same. I have a craving for spicy food. It kind of runs in the family, but only a few of us actually has the trait to tolerate it so well.
Yes.
If you were to choose between skydiving, bungee jumping, or scuba diving, which one would you choose?
I'd have to say scuba diving. I am petrified of heights.
Yeah, true. If you had to lose one of your senses, which would you choose to lose?
Oh, I'd probably be okay with going without my sense of taste, probably.
Which pizza topping do you most relate to?
I suppose pineapple. Nobody likes it, so they just pick it off, and then somebody else comes along and just eats just the pineapple.
Interesting.
Hmm.
Yeah. What's the one thing you can't live without?
Hmm. Well, I was going to say coffee, but you probably heard that a million times. I'd say I can't live without at least 5 minutes of peace and quiet. Hopefully more,
Yeah,
but if I can get 5 minutes, I'm good to go.
yeah, me too. If you had to pick any character in a book, movie, or TV show, who was most similar to you?
You know what? I'm not sure. You know what? I'd have to say probably Spock. I'm very analytical, very science geek minded. I think probably Spock. I take things so literal as far as I can't understand when somebody's joking or somebody's being sarcastic. So,
Yeah, absolutely. What was the best thing you have bought off Amazon?
um, I bought a tablet last Christmas, got a really good deal on it, and it's been occupying my son very well after school lately, giving me 5 minutes of free time usually.
Interesting.
I also bought a piano.
Nice. Would you sleep on the wall or sleep on the ceiling?
Ooh, I would sleep on the ceiling. That would be really cool because then I could just imagine the world's all just upside down. It's better being upside down than sideways.
Yes, absolutely. I
Mhm.
If you could erase one past experience, what would it be?
Ooh, I don't know. Probably most of junior high. Didn't like that.
Understandable.
Yeah, kids are just not kids. It's a lesson in hierarchy and social survival rather than schooling.
Yes, I'd say the same. What was the strangest dream you had?
Oh, I dreamed I was at a funeral for two people I'd never met. It was an older woman and an older man. I'd never met them, and then woke up and found that my uncle's mother and my aunt's grandfather had both passed away.
Hmm,
Thought it was interesting. Very
yes,
coincidental, but interesting nonetheless.
yes, absolutely. What bad habits would you want to get rid of?
Uh, I pick my nails all the time. It drives my husband nuts.
Ah, I see. What weird food combinations do you seem to enjoy?
Hmm. Um, I've been known to have, although I was pregnant at the time, I had black olives and cheesecake once together. Tasted really good.
Alright then, very nice. If you could only eat one food for the rest of your life, what would it be?
Ooh. See, I wanted to say chocolate, but then I just end up with diabetes. Um, I don't know. I would have to probably say maybe pork rinds. At least they'd have some fat and some fiber and some protein. Kind of get more of a well-balanced thing.
You know what? That I agree. I would prefer either beef or steak because, again, it's most of the protein, and that's something that I would like and possibly need for my survival.
Yeah,
Yeah. What kind of music do you often listen to?
I'm a big classical music fan, but I have been hate to admit this, I do like a little bit of country every now and then.
You know what? I'm like that as well. I like country music and I also like classical music as well.
Hmm. Yeah,
But
but
of
not
course,
that like whining about your horse running away kind of country music. But some of it's got kind of
nah,
a
not the kind of country music that just tells you about the countryside. It's just the vibe of country music that I like.
exactly the beat. Yeah.
Yes, I agree. What could you give a 40-minute presentation on without any preparation?
My passion for writing. Oh, and
Fabulous.
dogs. Anything to do with dogs.
Okay. Have you ever experienced anything supernatural?
Well, that dream I had was pretty freaky. Otherwise, I had a balloon chase me through my house once, ducked down up underneath the door frame and come up in the hallway and followed me down the hallway without I wasn't attached to it. And then it went into the bedroom and stopped at the end of my bed. So, needless to say, I popped that balloon and threw it in the garbage right away.
All right then. What catchy jingle or bit of advertising has stuck with you for quite a
There was a Juicy Fruit song that I heard when I was younger, and I still, every now and then, it gets stuck in my head. I cannot remember it for the life of me now, but it'll come to me and it'll stay in my head for 3 or 4 days.
All right then. Yeah. Well, for me, between auto glass repair, auto glass replace, or the saying about you should have gone to Specsavers because, well, if you don't go to Specsavers, how could you see things clearly where you are right now? So, oh,
Well,
that's
there
a
was,
big thing where I am.
yeah, well, there was an Alka, what is it? Pop, pop, fizz, fizz. Oh, what a relief it is. I think it was an Alka-Seltzer commercial. That one too. But that's dating myself.
Yep, it's those were the days.
Yes.
What question can you ask to find out the most about a person?
Well, you can ask them, how are you doing? Because they'll either lie to you and say, yo, yeah, everything's good. It depends on their demeanor. Or they can say, oh, things are not so great. It depends on how they answer. Like if you ask that simple question, people will answer it. They'll say the same thing. Most of the time they'll say, I'm great, but you can look at their face and you can say, oh, something's bothering them, or maybe they really are great. Who knows?
That's a very good point. They can say the same thing, but how they say it, that's very important.
Hmm.
What piece of entertainment do you wish you could erase from your mind so that you could experience it for the first time again?
Probably the going to the movie theaters. That would be, I remember the first time I went, it was amazing. And now it's like, well, the seats are getting better, but it's kind of lost its cool.
Yeah, it sure has. What trends did you follow when you were younger?
Well, when I was 13, now this again is dating myself, I was experienced with a mousse and a hairdryer, and I had 3-inch tall bangs, like Farrah Fawcett. I think Farrah Fawcett had 3-inch tall bangs.
Huh,
Yeah, and slut
interesting.
socks.
Oh yeah, of course. What is your favorite quote?
Time is like a snowflake. It disappears while you're trying to decide what to do with it.
Oh yeah, of course. What is your favorite season?
I like autumn. I like when it starts to get cool outside and the leaves change color, and then you can wear your larger shirts and such. Because by then you've already had a couple of big feast holidays and you're kind of putting on a couple pounds.
Yeah, of course. Have you met anyone famous?
I got an autographed CD from Terry Clark once. I don't know how famous she is now, but she was famous at the time.
Alright then. Have you ever heard of a drink called banana friche?
I have not. Although if it's alcohol, I'm not much of a drinker, so I don't know a lot of those.
Fair enough, fair enough. But I feel a trend is on the rise regarding that drink. We
Oh,
just
well, if
don't
it's
know
got
what's gonna
banana
happen.
in it,
Yeah,
sounds pretty good.
yes. It will come when we least expect it.
Yeah, well, and if it is an alcoholic drink, I'm sure they make non-alcoholic versions of it.
Oh yes, there's tons of variations to that, of course.
Yes.
Yeah. What would you change about your life if you could?
Well, I probably would have started feeling more confident about my writing a whole lot earlier than I did.
Yeah. If you could see one movie again for the first time, what movie would that be?
E.T. I would see that again for the first time.
Yes, of course. Would you rather be really hot or really cold?
I would rather be really cold because you can always put on layers and warm up. But if you're really hot, there's only so much you can take off before it becomes illegal.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah, I'd say really cold as well, because At least I can shake myself to vibrate my muscles as a
Mm-hmm.
way to keep myself
Yep,
warm.
you can
So,
sit in front of a fire. There's unless you have air conditioning, there is nothing that you can do to get away from the heat, really.
yeah, absolutely. If you could travel back in time, what decade would you want to live in?
Ooh, not sure. I think I'd probably go back to like the late 1800s, early 1900s, where there wasn't any cell phones, YouTubes, computers, and it's probably a lot quieter than it is now.
Yes, that's very true. What game have you spent the most hours playing?
Sims 4.
Of
Yeah,
course.
it's
Yeah.
yeah. Well, but it's a toss up between that and World of Warlaw or World of Warcraft, because that one was a big one of mine. I played that one since it came out. I played that one before it became an online game.
Yeah, yeah. Do you prefer headphones or earbuds?
Headphones. The earbuds never stay in place. They always fall out and then they get filled with wax.
Oh, yes, those are the worst.
Yeah, it's really hard to get those wax out. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Do you prefer pens or pencils?
You know, I think pencils because I'm always going to make a mistake and it's a lot easier to erase it than it is to white it out because you have to go and
Yeah,
find the white out where the pencils usually just have an eraser on the end. It's very convenient.
yes, absolutely. Would you rather not be able to open closed doors or not be able to close open doors?
I think I'd probably not want I'd choose to not be able to close open doors because you can it'll then at least that way you can enter a room. But if you couldn't open a door, you could never leave that room. You can never see what's in the other room.
Yes, I agree. What's the last thing you read about, either digitally or in print, that you found interesting?
Goodness. I guess the last thing I read about that was kind of interesting is kind of no, I maybe it's interesting to some people is that we lose 100 hairs from our head every single day, which makes sense if I take 3 days to wash my hair while I'm pulling handfuls of it out.
Yeah, of course. And which of your passions do you enjoy doing most?
Writing. I actually am learning piano and I'm really enjoying that as well. Just anything creative or artistic, I'm really fond of.
That's nice. And that is all we have for this episode. It's great having you on, Jennifer, talking about your works as an author, your published books, and of course, playing the piano, and a lot of things. Creative, it's been great.
Yes, it was very fun. Thank you.
You're welcome. And until next time, stay tuned for more.